Welcome to the Bible Conversations podcast. Our focus for conversation starters this year is going to be practical tips on how to begin a conversation with someone about the Bible and about Jesus. We hope that you will find some helpful information in these short segments that will enable you to share your faith with others. During today's conversation starter, I'm going to be talking really about how to talk to your friends. And I hope that this short little snippet will help you to feel encouraged and brave to talk about the gospel, to talk about the Bible, to share your faith with others. So one of the first things that I want to encourage you to do is to invite them to really to worship. The worst answer that they're going to give you is the answer that you already have, which is no. If you don't ask, you're not going to receive a yes for sure. And so there's actually a quote from Wayne Gretzky, famous hockey player: "You miss 100% of the shots that you don't take." You know, the worst thing that somebody will tell you is, "I'm not interested in going." And while that is awful and sad and terrible, it's still an opportunity and a door that has been opened, that you have let them know that you are interested in having them come to worship with you. You know, another question that a lot of people don't ask, but that is, at least I have found that most people will answer yes to. It may not always follow up with this, but I actually don't know that I've ever had anybody tell me no to this question, which is, would you like to have a Bible study? And that could be basically you just studying the Bible in the way that you like to study, going over it in the way you like to go over it, and just having somebody else join you and talk through that. It could be a very purposed Bible study where you're discussing things or questions that they may have. It could be that you introduce them to somebody who you view as faithful and strong in the faith, so that they can study with them with the intention of bringing them to Christ. You know, there's a couple stories I'm going to tell before I wrap it up. The first story about my wife. She has a twin sister, and they made friends with this girl in middle school. And they on Saturday nights they would invite their friend over to stay with them, to spend the night at their house. And you know, they'd tell her up front, "Hey, bring some nice clothes because we're going to church in the morning." And so Saturday night, you know, they'd have fun, hang out, do whatever. Sunday morning they were at church. And for 5 or 6 years, obviously it wasn't every Saturday night, it wasn't every Sunday, but for 5 or 6 years they did this relatively often. And after about 5 or 6 years, this girl decided that she was going to be baptized. And so this was a long time in the making. It was a long process, but what soul is not worth that, right? I mean, it's such a phenomenal testimony of the dedication of my wife and of her sister, of pouring into this girl, this friend of theirs. And so keep that in mind, that it's not always going to be a real quick, I'm going to do this now and it's going to happen tomorrow type of a deal. It's going to take time. The other story I want to share is actually about Jared Hyatt. We've had him on the podcast before, and he told a story one time about how he was going to talk to his roommate about God and about Jesus and about the Bible. And he said, "You know what? I've been putting it off long enough. I'm going to fast. And I'm not going to eat anything until I talk with them about the Bible." And so, you know, half a day goes by and I'm not really hungry enough. And so he goes to sleep. Next morning he wakes up and he's pretty hungry at this point, but he's not quite there. And so makes it through to lunch, and then he gets to dinner, I think is how it goes. He gets to dinner, he's like, "All right, you know what, I'm too hungry. I'm going to talk to him now." And so he goes up and he talks to him and, you know, has a conversation about God and about the Bible. And that sometimes that's what it takes, is convincing ourselves, talking to ourselves, and putting implements in place where we challenge ourselves to talk to people about the Bible. We often think that it's so difficult and so hard. The reality is it takes just a simple act of courage to talk to somebody about the gospel, and that simple act of courage could lead to the salvation of a soul. So I want to encourage you, step out of your comfort zone. Talk to your friends. You already spend time with them. Have them over for an evening. Go and invite them to lunch or to dinner and talk about God there. There's so many different ways that you can talk to people about God and about Jesus, about the Bible. And I want to encourage you to get creative and to be brave. Thank you for listening. Hope you have a wonderful day. Thank you for listening to this conversation starter. We appreciate your desire to share your faith with others, and we hope that this episode has been of benefit to you. If you would like to reach us, please email us at kcocbibleconversations@gmail.com. You can also find us on Facebook and Instagram by simply searching Bible Conversations. Please check back in on Fridays for our full episode.